In order to keep your attention during this video, the production had to choose between 3 options. The first one, having our face on screen. Because we do not possess an adequate camera. We chose not to. Secondly, we could have gone the path of putting a video in the background, like the plague of Subway Surfer and satisfying videos you see on YouTube Shorts as well as TikTok. Our choice,
Honestly, mainly mine.
was to completely plagiarize the concept of the YouTuber Lazy Pig, using an animal picture as his avatar.
Honestly, be happy with that. I mean, I could have chosen way worse. Look at this sheep, isn't he cute?
With that settled, on to the video.
Okay, Napoleonic Wars. Who started it all? Why did it even start? And the ultimate question, why is Napoleon's campaign of Russia the beginning of his end? Alright, let's get started. So, in 1789,
French Revolution?
French Revolution indeed. So, liberté, égalité,
Renault Coupé.
and all of that. Now, a few years later, Napoleon Bonaparte seizes power and...
You do know that this is not the correct image.
Yes, but let me explain.
You're not going to talk about all of that.
Okay, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we're supposed to hand that back in less than 6 hours. So Britain and France signed the Amiens Treaty. Why? To stop them from doing war with each other again. You should know, you researched it. Now, following the treaty, Napoleon invades parts of Italy, the Piemonte and Elba, and he makes himself the president of the Italian Republic. He was also supposed to vacate Holland, which he did not do, and on the Britannic side, among a truckload of things to do, they agreed to leave Cape Colony, which is a British settlement in South Africa. So they did, and the higher-ups countermanded that decision shortly after they heard about the numerous shenanigans happening in Europe, mainly caused by, yes, him. In March of 1803, Cape Colony is reoccupied. After a few failed negotiations, Britain declared war on France on the 18th of May 1803. Now that's where we dig into it, the coalitions. What is a coalition? What were the coalitions? It's quite the question, isn't it? Well, a coalition is a temporary alliance for combined action, especially of political parties forming a government. So it's an alliance to go to war, basically. Those coalitions are formed against France, always, and there were 5 coalition wars starting from the 3rd one. Yes, because the first ones are not counted as a part of the Napoleonic Wars. And the teams usually don't change, except at the end, you'll see. So, the first, 3rd coalition war had on one side France, obviously, and its vassal states, alongside Spain, Bavaria, Württemberg and Baden. Against them were those guys.
And who won?
France and their allies. And with some panache as well, because the Battle of Austerlitz was a remarkable feat of tactical warfare, playing an important role in the fall of the 3rd coalition.
And what was the tactical prowess?
Well, you could call it how you want, but I like to call it the surprise Allied attack. Yes, I know, this isn't the domain of the true technical vocabulary, but let's carry on with the 4th war. France lines up with those guys, and in the other team, so the coalition, there is Prussia, their superior motherland, and...
Germany.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by Germany?
Sasha's right. Prussia is the precursor of Germany, so there could be some more appropriate music.
I think we get your point. We should carry on before we get into trouble. So, another recurrent member is... Russia. So we have Prussia, Russia, Britain, Saxony, Sweden, Sicily and the Septinsular Republic, which are basically 7 islands under Russian and Ottoman sovereignty, all of them against France and France.
This time, who won?
it was France once more.
Really?
Really. To keep it short, this sums up the 5th coalition. And the 6th coalition? Actually not. Napoleon abdicated in 1814. And guess what? It was because of the Russian campaign.
Ah, finally.
This military campaign was such a disaster that French expressions were born from this, which are still used to this day. You may have heard some of them, like "C'est pire que la retraite de Russie" and "C'est la Bérésina," in reference to a battle we will talk about. Sorry. So this starts with Sasha I,
Alexander I.
Alexander I, Emperor or Tsar of Russia, depends on how you prefer it, who was trading with Great Britain, France's biggest enemy at the time. He then gently advised the French troops to... How can I phrase it without being expelled? Oh wait, I've got it. He told them to get the away from his country and therefore leave Prussia.
Understandably, Napoleon did not take that really well and declared war on Russia. He mobilized the Grande Armée, the bulk of his forces, and marched onwards on the 24th of June 1812, crossing the Niemen River, aiming to have the Tsar under his boots. But little did he know bringing 500,000 soldiers implies logistic issues.
Usually, when you go to war, you create a supply line. You must protect it at all costs. Simply because if this line is broken, your army dies of hunger. The logistics planned by Napoleon were admirable, with lines going from the Rhine to Poland, where convoys would set off to follow the troops.
But Russia is harsh, the winter especially. Looking at Charles-Joseph Minard's graph, you can see the measured temperatures on the battlefield.
Now imagine being dressed in wool, cotton and linen, and you now have to face temperatures you've never even thought were possible. We're talking about negative values for entire months and sometimes negative 30 degrees. All to probably die of hunger because the supply lines aren't working anymore.
The supply strategy was inefficient enough, and the troops started to live off the land, which was rather effective at first, considering the vast agricultural areas of western Russia. But moving deeper into the country, the fields of food started to vanish.
Horses died of hunger at an alarming rate, and Napoleon's strategy of marching as fast as possible left the supply convoys behind, causing numerous casualties. As time went on, hotter temperatures came and the snow melted, basically turning the ground into a swimming pool of mud. Horses and men now died of fatigue, and the carriages got stuck in the mud when the sun came and the mud solidified.
This phenomenon, well known by the locals, called the
Распутица.
Caused many injuries, where men and horses broke their legs trying to get out of the mud.
All of the corpses carried diseases that spread all over the camps, killing more men and horses. If the supplies columns stopped or were too slow to catch up, desertion started to appear, and foraging, so picking berries, and plants did not work anymore because of Russia's tactics.
The Russians destroyed everything that Napoleon's troops could use. So, food, fields, water sources, cities. The main example of it being the fire of Moscow, where the Russians set fire to the city and left, leaving nothing to the French and forcing them to retreat after staying for about a month in the devastated city. In the fire, close to 7,000 houses were destroyed, including 2,000 stone houses and more than 100 churches.
His already weakened army, now left with nothing, Napoleon tried to negotiate with the Tsar, who obviously refused any proposal, seeing his army's struggles. Now let's look at the letter he sent him, a magnificent primary source written by Napoleon Bonaparte himself.
You cannot get more primary than that.
This letter is really exquisite. It shows all of the megalomania, disrespect, How can you be so bold to the point where it becomes insufferable? In this, we clearly see Napoleon's boldness and self-esteem. He says that the Tsar is unsportsmanlike, therefore boldly criticizing the Tsar's strategy to destroy resources from the ground, which was the only way for Napoleon's army to be fed at times, especially when reaching Moscow. Clearly, showing the weak, fragile state of his army, this is one of the factors influencing the Tsar's decision regarding the suggested peace proposal.
Let me get this straight. He's complaining to his enemy about the fact that he's losing the war.
Childish criticism. He says that he shouldn't be writing to him because of what he's doing, but he has to. Because he's gallant.
War without animosity. So it's a sport.
He would love to see the one he suggests was his old friend get along with him once again. Notice that the fact that he uses the honorific term Your Majesty every time, and he seems to deliberately forget the fact that he's the one who started the war.
Sun Tzu said, "When you're weak, appear strong." He had been asking for peace with Russia, but they refused because they knew that his weakened army would suffer even more with no supplies. Without fighting him directly, there was no chance of Napoleon winning this war. This was the beginning of the end.
The retreat of Russia is a reference for catastrophic failures or colossal mistakes. Despite departing from Moscow with, according to Minard's map, 422,000 men and left with about 10,000.
But a lot of allies of France switched sides and joined the coalition, basically leaving France alone, with its army severely limited after the Russian campaign, ready to be trampled upon by a fresh coalition. And that is exactly what happened. Russia, Sweden and a lot of German states joined the Sixth Coalition, leading to the collapse of the French Empire and the exile of Napoleon. The Seventh Coalition was the ultimate battle. Everybody was against France. Following his defeat and exiles caused by the loss of the Fifth Coalition War, he forms a new army and invades Europe again. After coming back in Belgium and scoring a few victories, Napoleon is defeated at Waterloo by the Seventh Coalition and is exiled on St. Helena, this time, ending decades of chaos and conflict in Europe.
Attends, je crois que c'est fini là. Attends, ouais, c'est fini. Ah non, t'es en train de me dire qu'on a terminé?
Juste de 30 heures, j'espère bien qu'il a terminé.
Attends, il va parler, faut qu'il fasse l'autre quand même.
C'est bon? Je vais en placer une? Quand même. This is it. It's the end of the video. Thank you for watching until the end. Thanks to Eddie and Sasha for their work. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, well, maybe like and subscribe. I don't know. And until next time, have a great day.
Let's keep it together. It's so much better than